Episode 3358, Check the Chaos at the Door.
Moms, it's time to rediscover, rejuvenate, and renew who you are in mind, body, and spirit. Welcome to Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie, the show to help you do just that. Here's your host, certified life coach, personal trainer, and nutritionist, Kristianne Wargo.
Happy day. It's Friday. Time to raise the roof. Yes, you made it. You made it to Friday, which means you're going to make it through the weekend. Yes, so take a deep breath. It's Confessions of an Upset Mama, and you know what? We got March Madness happening, which I know it's April, but the Final Four is here. Are you ready for it? Maybe you're having a party at your house. Where we're going to have a party right now is called Check the Chaos at the Door. For those of you who are brand new to Create Your Now, welcome to this incredible family. I'm so delighted of your presence. If you already haven't had the opportunity, you'll want to head on over to createyournow.com, where you can learn more and sign up for the K.I.S.S newsletter. The Keep It Simple strategy, everyday solutions to live, love, and impact. Well, this episode is brought to you by AIM, inspiring connection and community. Well, like I said, we got to take a deep breath. It has been a whirlwind of a week. It really has been. And if you're here in the U.S., do you have your taxes done? Ooh, the deadline is fastly approaching, 10 days. Whoop, whoop. We need to have like that countdown, not just the Final Four countdown, but the countdown to tax day. Some of you probably are way ahead of the game and you've already filed and you're like, no big deal. We go on to the next day. Wherever you are in life, I'm glad you're joining me. I do not take for granted at all that you're here. You have so much to do and I just love spending time with you. So today, I really want you to think about your family in a unique manner. We usually think about this selfishly, what we're going to talk about here. But I want you to think about it from the aspect of your family. Because in the whirlwind of modern family life, right, finding that balance can feel like an elusive dream. Between work demands, school schedules, extracurricular activities, dance, gymnastics, you name it, basketball, oh yes, baseball, softball, and all of your personal commitments, you must check the chaos at the door. Because with a little intentionality and some strategic planning, and yes, that means you have to plan, even if you don't like it, it is possible to create a harmonious family dynamic where everyone finds their space in the middle of competing demands. Have you ever been in a household or in maybe your own household? I know in mine, because having a lot of children and now we're only growing, we can't get smaller. You know, that's what's very interesting. You have your children and then your children begin to build their families. And then what happens next after that is you're like, well, it looks like this, or maybe I should say it sounds like this. And it sounds like pots and pans and cats and dogs. And you're like, how did I get myself into this? Right? And you're just kind of going all over the place. Well, like I said, take a deep breath, because finding balance as a family is like constructing a beautiful mosaic. Each unique piece comes together to create a masterpiece of harmony. And it's not easy to do. And yes, there are going to be times that, it's like the kangaroo fighting the koala bear. And then you got the cats and the dogs. And then you've got the pots and pans going. And literally that's just a moment in your life. I know I had many of them. And it's amazing that I didn't lose all of my hair. I just lost my color very early on. Thank the Lord for hair color. That's all I got to say. It is my real hair color. The color I use is my natural hair color, but my color I have is not natural. I know, I just spilled it on Confession Day. Imagine that. But no, I have always been a brunette. I have natural red highlights in my hair and they come out streaking loudly because I have a lot of Greek in me. And so, we'll leave that for another episode too. But it's one of those things where I believe that we try to find that calm in the chaos. And it's hard. It's really hard. And it doesn't get easier as the kids get older. In fact, they just get louder. They just get louder. And you're like, oh, can you just please calm it down? My ears are burning. And it's funny because, I have 2 grandchildren. And our oldest grandson, well, we only have 1 grandson and 1 granddaughter. So I guess technically it's our oldest grandchild. But he's 3. And we have our little girl. Oh, she is absolutely adorable. I miss her already. I was down there last week. I'm probably going down there next week. But man, it seems like it's been months since I've seen them, and it hasn't been that long at all. But he is very boisterous and he loves to stir it up. And when he stirs it up and he gets into his daddy's face in his ear, he is so loud. And his daddy turns to him and says, "Would you please quiet it down just a little bit?" I mean, because he's loud and it can kind of hurt your eardrum. You forget how sensitive your ears are until you have a screaming 3-year-old, and it's all in fun. I mean, like they're just playing, but he's so loud. Anyway, I do think we get very chaotic in life. Sometimes for the bad, a lot of times for the good. We're laughing, we're having fun, we're playing jokes, we're playing games, we're doing activities, we're cooking, we're being a family. That's how it's supposed to be. But when you factor in all of your activities and everything that you have with your commitments, and then on top of that, your responsibilities like the dinner dishes and dogs. In fact, you know what you're having for dinner tonight? Oh, wait, it's Friday. So does that mean it's pizza night for you? That's what it used to be for us. For me, every night is pizza night. Not really. I would love to have every night pizza night, but it's really not good for my body. We'll leave that for Wellness Wednesday. But seriously, so you've got all of these responsibilities and life happens and you're like, I've got to find balance. But in reality, we know balance is an elusive dream in itself, right? We're really looking for harmony because we're always moving. So there's never a 50-50. There's never an equal. So I want you to look at your family today. What does your family look like today? If you were to paint a picture, your own mosaic right now, what would it look like? Would it be something with bright colors to depict really like, oh yeah, we're we've got those creative spirits and we're loud and we have a lot of fun? Or would you use more calm, cool colors because you're a little more reserved? But maybe you would sprinkle in some bright colors for that, but we like to get out there and we like to have fun too. What would your mosaic look like? Because I think sometimes we get so bombarded with everybody else's stuff. We're going on everybody else's reel that we don't even know what our own masterpiece looks like. And sometimes our own masterpiece could be missing a lot of pieces. And that's where we fall out of balance. That's where we lose the harmony. And that's when you got to check the chaos at the door. That is your KISS to keep it simple strategy. Check the chaos at the door. You don't want to carry this around all the time, right? You don't need to have life more chaotic than it is at work. And if you work at home, well, then you've got double duty at home, right? I know I do all of the above, and it does get a little bit crazy. It gets a little bit challenging, but you can find a way to overcome it. So I want to talk about 10 things today where you can check the chaos at the door and some ways that you can kind of find that harmony within your own family. Number 1, establish priorities. It's important to identify what matters most to your family and allocate that time and attention accordingly. Now, understand this. Those priorities shift with seasons, right? If you're dealing with a sick mother, then that's going to take precedence over your child needing to go shopping at the mall. Is there ever such a thing anymore? I don't even know. Everybody goes shopping online. But I know there's a few malls around, so, we'll pretend. So you've got to look at how you establish those priorities and know that they're going to shift, right? Author Stephen Covey once said, the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. I call those your non-negotiables. What are your non-negotiables in your family? Identify those. And sometimes they do shift. What do I mean by that? Well, you may be caring for your mom, which is your kid's grandmother. That's going to shift some things for a little while. Maybe you yourself are sick or something else happens. Maybe you're down a car. I know last year, was it last year? Oh my goodness. Time just runs together. I think it was a year before that. It's been about a year and a half. Our car was stolen here where we lived. And poof, broad daylight, in fact. And that kind of shook some things up, right? We had to prioritize who needed to get where, when, and how. Now, I didn't need to travel a lot. So I'm like, well, somebody can have my car. That's fine. I'll just plan accordingly of what I need to do, either doing it when someone comes home or whatever. So we had to shift some things, but it worked, right? So whatever that season is, establish those non-negotiables. When you do that, then you can build your schedule around that. Number 2, set boundaries. You got to establish boundaries for work, for school, personal time. Yeah, that means you get something too. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. to ensure that each family member gets the attention they need. Now, as you know, we have 5 kids, okay? And when they were younger, we let them kind of dabble in absolutely everything, right? And for many years, we homeschooled them. So really their schedule was my schedule. If I could do it, I said yes. And that was truly the rule. I could not rely on my husband's schedule because of what he did. We could not control that. And honestly, neither could he exactly. I mean, if he asked for the day off, he'd have the day off. But otherwise, no. We didn't know how early he would go in or how late he would come home. So if mama couldn't do it, then we wouldn't do it. But when they were young, it was easy to have them in 2 or 3 things for each of them. But as they got older, they had to pick and choose. And it came down to what can you handle? And we went from 3 to 4 to 5 things per child down to 1 or 2 things. And then they really found out what their interests were. So by the time they hit high school, it was they zoned in. Now, obviously, when they got their driver's license, it was a little bit easier. But at the same time, it was one of those things where, yes, we did have to set those boundaries because each person in the family deserves to have the attention that they need. And it's important to remember that, especially if you have more than one child, okay? It is important. You don't want to leave anyone behind because let me tell you, when they get older, they love to fabricate stories just a little bit. Yeah, they over-dramatize what their childhood was like. Not that I'm speaking from experience or anything. We'll leave that one, though, to another episode, too. Number 3, communicate openly. You got to schedule some family meetings. I know we joke about this, but if you're not on the same page, meaning you're not talking, you're not ever going to be on the same page. So come together when you've got concerns. Share your schedules. There are so many ways you can share your calendar now, whether you use Google Calendars, whether you set something up through your phones, if you all have the same type of phones. There's so many ways. Get creative if you have to. If you like the old-fashioned way, which I still do, write it out. There's nothing wrong with that. It makes your children realize that writing is a good thing too, right? And it's fun. Who doesn't like to just wipe something off the whiteboard? Oh, I love that feeling. So when you do communicate openly, then you're also going back to setting those boundaries, allowing everyone's needs to be met. Virginia Satire says, and she's a family therapist, says we need 4 hugs a day for survival. We need 8 hugs a day for maintenance. We need 12 hugs a day for growth. So when you think about that, when I think about what she's saying here is that our family, each and every one of us in the family unit needs to feel loved. And if you're only giving out 1 or 2 things of your time, or you're only communicating 1 or 2 times a week, you're in survival mode. You've got to look at what are we doing to grow as a family. So establish those priorities, those non-negotiables, set boundaries, communicate openly. Number 4, quality time. Make the most of your time together by engaging in meaningful activities. To do what? Create lasting memories. I love what Dr. Seuss says. Sometimes you will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. And that's 100% truth. Life is precious. Are you treating each moment not as if it's its last? Because sometimes we could go down another rabbit hole as into, oh, woe's me and tears and all of this. I don't want to go that way, but you're so present. That's quality time. Are you really present? Is that in your mosaic right now with your family? Number 5, self-care. Encourage your family to prioritize self-care activities that rejuvenate and re-energize you, them, right? You know what the flight attendant says, right? When you're sitting in the airplane before you take off, put on your oxygen mask first before assisting others. Taking care of yourself allows you to better care for your loved ones. You have more love to give because you have a reserve. You cannot fill someone up from an empty cup. You can't. You can't serve them well. So you've got to have that self-care, and you've got to teach your family how to care for themselves also. So, hey, moms, take the girls out once in a while, or just have a mani-pedi day. You don't have to go out. It doesn't cost a lot of money. Go to the dollar store. I understand. I get it. Funds are tight. So be creative in this, okay? You don't have to go and spend $100 because you've got to take 3 girls out and get their nails done. In fact, it's going to cost a lot more than that if you do that. Plus your nails, that's 4. No, craziness. So do some creative things at home, okay? Boys, come on. Come on, dads. You know what to do there. Take them out. Go for a drive, right? Go get a cheap ice cream cone or pack your own lunches and go fishing. Do something different. Number 6, delegate responsibility. This one is really for my mamas. You got to distribute household chores and responsibilities among other kiddos. Now your spouse, I'll leave that to you as to how you delegate. My husband is wonderful. He will help me around the house all the time. All I have to do is ask him. He does his laundry. He'll do my laundry if I let him. The problem is I don't like what he puts in the laundry, so I usually do my own laundry, and he does his own laundry, not because we can't do each other's laundry. And if time is, if we're cramped for time or whatever, then yeah, I'll throw in some things together. But I don't like to use fabric softener. I know, sounds strange, but I have a lot of things that do not do well. And I'll just leave this as a free point. If you don't use fabric softener, your clothes will last longer. Fabric softener coats your fibers of your clothes, okay? And over time, have you ever washed your towels and you use fabric softener and all of a sudden they're starting to get crunchy? Yeah, it's called a buildup and you can't get it off. And depending upon your water, that's an issue too. So see, there you go for a confession, upset mama. I like my clothes soft, and so I do not use fabric softener because ultimately they will harden. Anyway, that's my experience, just saying. So delegate those responsibilities. Teach them. When my kids were younger, I taught them how to do their laundry. It was important. I had 5 kids. Do you know how many laundry loads I was doing a day? Talk about the dinner dishes and dogs. Like literally it all went together. It just did. They were all there. And then wait, with the dinner dishes and dogs, I had the 5 kiddos and the husband. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I got the kitty cats too. Oh, yeah. It was literally chaos. It's a party every day. But it was one that was calm chaos. It was a beautiful mosaic, and I would not trade it for the world. But it will help your mental stability in your mind if you can delegate some responsibilities. Now, obviously, if you have an infant, that's not going to work, right? But as your kids get older, give them responsibility to lighten up their load and to promote teamwork. I'm telling you, we've got to teach more kids about being a part of the team. All right, number 7, tech-free time. I love this time. I got to learn this time. I actually do really well. When our family is together, I put my phone away. Now, there are times that, yes, I'm working on things online with Create Your Now and everything. And we've got a lot of moving parts right now. And because of my daughter's in-laws and what happened there, some things had to shift. So I'm kind of playing catch up right now. My kids understand that. But when we go anywhere together, if I'm visiting and we're doing something together, no, the phone goes away. Unless if it's blood or a flood, I don't need to answer that text. It could go to voicemail if somebody calls me. Now, if it's like my mom, I'm going to answer the phone. My sister, my brother, I'm answering the phone. But if it's like somebody even work-related, I'm like, it can go to voicemail. Now, if they call me 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 more times, okay, maybe I need to pick up that call. But for the most part, it can wait. Remember, voicemail does work nowadays. Number 8, flexibility. This is all about being adaptable, being able to flex in your season. And when you're able to flex and to adapt to your seasons, that means you're willing to adjust schedules and plans as needed to accommodate unforeseen circumstances or individual needs. All right, let's go back to you taking care of your mom. Well, if you have that situation, it may only be for a few weeks. Or it could be a little bit longer, whatever it is, but you adjust accordingly. Michael Arndt, an American film producer and screenwriter and actor, said, be so good they can't ignore you. You want to have your flexibility down. Because in all honesty, if people said, what is your secret sauce? What is your secret to really running a household? And I would say flexibility, adaptability, 1,000%. I mean, yeah, I've got to have patience. I got to have the fruit of the Spirit. I mean, I could go into all of that. But I'm talking about an actual skill, flexibility, adaptability, being able to know how to go with the flow. What does that mean? How can I switch in literally a blink of an eye? I remember when my daughter's in-laws were in the horrific accident and I was coming back from Florida from my mastermind, and I was literally en route coming home, and I get a text from my daughter saying that her husband's parents were in a horrific accident. That's all she said. And I was like, what? And at that time, I was talking to my husband. And I said, well, what do I do? And so I immediately texted her back and I said, I'm on the road coming back home. Now I have a way that I can go to her house because we're only about 3 hours and plus away from each other. Our homes are. But again, I'm coming from Florida. And I think at this time I was in Georgia. And I said, do you need me to reroute and come to your house? Well, I had just stopped at the gas station filling up when this text came in, and I truly believe it was all a God thing and a divine appointment there that I was taking a break then. I was talking to my husband, like it just all fell into place. So he actually got on the road first. He got there within an hour or so as we were talking because he was already traveling too. He was going to go visit them. And so he was on his way there, and then I rerouted and I ended up coming in about 3+ hours later because I was en route. That's called being flexible. That's not me saying, well, I was planning on getting home at like 10 o'clock tonight, and then I guess after I get home, I can drive back over after I change. No, it wasn't. I need to do this. But sometimes even in those situations, because I know I hear the pushback of saying, but Kristianne, we don't need to know when it's just like the 911 situations. But you know what? There are more 911 situations that happen like that. And people still freak out about it and they don't know how to handle it because they can't handle the everyday. And so the 911 becomes even more complicated. For me, it was just, okay, I adjust. I do what I need to do. And we've done it for a long while to get them settled, to get the care that they needed as they spent weeks in the hospital. Her father-in-law in the ICU for weeks. Horrible. Praise the Lord. They're doing well. It is truly a miracle. But it's one of those things where when you look at what you're doing and you look at a skill, this is a skill that we have to have that harmony. What does your family look like? If you learn flexibility, how would that change your life? Think about it that way. Because adaptability in the face of change helps to maintain that equilibrium within the family. It calms the chaos. That doesn't mean there's not going to be chaos. I am not saying that at all, but it will calm it. Number 9, the support system. And you can tell how much I believe in the flexibility, adaptability. Why? Because how much time I spent on it. That is a secret sauce to having an incredible family. Seriously, especially if you have a large family. Number 9 is your support system. You've got to lean on extended family and friends, even support groups, your church community for assistance and guidance when you have those busy or challenging times. Maria Montessori says this, the greatest signs of success for a teacher is to be able to say, the children are now working as if I did not exist. Ultimately, mom and dad, we are raising up our children so they can go out and impact the world that they touch because they don't need us any longer. Yeah, I know that sounds horrible, doesn't it? That we raise them to let them go. No, we raise them to let them fly so they can impact. They can soar on wings like eagles. That's how I want you to see your children. And when you are raising your kiddos, you got to have a good, strong support system. But you also, let me say this, you also have to have the right support system. Not everyone in your family is going to be the right support system. You may love your mama, but maybe your mama isn't really the best support system. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? I have an incredible relationship with my mother, and I call her every day. Unless if there's something happening, I'm traveling or I've got a conference or I'm working on some major things, whatever, then it's like every other day. But most of the time, oh yeah, it's every day. And we just talk. It doesn't have to be for a long period of time. And if I don't talk to her, we're usually texting. But not everybody has that relationship with their mom. And there's nothing wrong with that, but just know it's got to be the right support system. There are people in your life that should be there for a season, and then it's time to let them go. That doesn't mean you're mean to them. It just means that they don't need to be a part of your season any longer. You can still be friends with them, or yes, they still may be family. You don't cut them out of the family, right? You can't say, oh, my brother was great, but then he turned like this, and well, and then my life went like this. Well, you don't cut your brother out. He's always going to be your brother. You just may not use him the way that you did 10 years ago. Same with your parents or your grandparents, right? Life changes. Life ebbs and flows. So what does that look like? Your relationships evolve. And remember, as you evolve too, if your family isn't evolving with you, maybe you need to have some conversation. But we'll leave that for another episode. And then finally, number 10. I told you I had 10. I could give you a lot more, but we're only going to do 10 today because, I know you've got the weekend, right? Friday, yay. Well, this is a good one to end on. Celebrate achievements. You've got to acknowledge and celebrate each other. Come on. We've got 3 graduates this May. It's crazy. I'm just scratching my head, but man, it's awesome. And are we going to party? Yep, here at the house, but we're going to have a party together because we're going to lift each other up. We want to have that positive, supportive party saying, you did this, you worked hard. And we want to celebrate that. Are you doing that in your mosaic? Can you see those bright colors? And maybe you're in a season that you can't, but if you are in that darker season, your colors don't have to be dark just because you're in a dark season. Think about it that way too. Because in the intricate tapestry of family dynamics, each thread plays a crucial role in the weaving together a beautiful, harmonious, and colorful life. It's what holds you together as a family. It makes you a family. Imagine if a quilt was made just for your family. What would that quilt look like? What would that masterpiece, that mosaic look like? Remember, finding your calm center amidst the chaos is not about achieving perfection. It is not. It's not about things being in all the right places and everyone being happy. But more so, it's about embracing the journey and the growth that comes with it. When you are part of a family, my friend, you will be changed. And that's something to celebrate. So check the chaos at the door and invite harmony to take its place in the heart of the family. Go in peace, be present, be incredible, be you. I love you so very much. I cannot wait to see you on the other side. Blessings, hugs, and lots of love. We'll talk to you real soon. Have a glorious, blessed day and weekend too. Bye-bye.
Feeling inspired, ready to train for life and love your journey? Visit createyournow.com for more incredible resources to help you along the way. We'll see you next time on Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie. And remember, always be sure you consult your physician before beginning any health and fitness plan.